all so much for coming out today. I don't know how to thank Laura. She is a true patriot, and she is a believer in the Almighty. I think all the rest of us, she brings us hope. This race is bringing us hope, not because of me, the candidate, but because of you, the people, and we know we have to reach out for something higher and better. And Eric Cantor is about as illuminating as a brick. I don't know. I want to spend a minute here just thanking Laura Ingraham for coming down here, and I hope we can all get Let me tell you what she's done that I could not do alone. She has cracked open the media juggernaut that we've been fighting. The media will not give us a fair race. And now we got a superstar coming down here. She's cracked it wide open. And now the media can no longer hide. The Richmond Times-Dispatch is going to have to cover this race. You've all seen the editorial page of the paper lately. Eric Cantor is getting national notoriety for the negative campaign he's running. The most untruthful campaign, the most deceptive, the most vicious that the national media is calling it. And
wonder where you learned that from.
Yeah, right. And the media, our own paper, they tried to create kind of a moral equivalence between my nasty campaign and his nasty campaign. We're all on the same footing, right? We've all tried to be positive in this campaign. We've looked to hope and higher principles. And so again, I want to thank my hero right here, Laura Ingraham, for making all of this possible. Awesome. Well, hey, please do me a favor. Raise your hand if you're a new face to the crowd in here tonight, if you haven't heard me before. It's a bunch of everyone repeat after me. When is election day? June. All right. I need two things from you today. I'm going to do this ahead of time. They always get mad. I'm bad at asking people for stuff. If we have 500 people in this room tonight, and I only need about 25,000 votes to win, do the math on that. You all go get 50 people. Now you can't get the 50 people in this room. You all go get 50 new people, and I'm your new congressman. That's $20. Well, very good. I wasn't going to introduce myself, but let me say just a few words about who I am and what I'm about, because I think that matters to the story that's about ready to come. And then because Laura's with us tonight, I want to give a few special remarks on amnesty, which is the key pivotal issue of the day. And Eric Cantor has just did a 180 flip-flop on that last 2 weeks. Totally unprincipled move. So I'm Dave Brat. I'm from the Midwest originally. Can you hear me in the back? Okay, good. From the Midwest, went to Hope College, small little art school, kind of like Randolph-Macon College, where I teach right now. I had a few great mentors, and I always wanted to be one of those good guys, so that's the path I was on. Worked in the business world at Arthur Anderson in Detroit, in Chicago for a little bit, and then I felt the call to seminary one distinct day in Detroit, and made my way to Princeton Theological Seminary, not knowing exactly what to expect, but I was following the Almighty like Laura said to do, and I try to do that on a daily basis. And so I went there. So I went up to seminary, and I went on a political term down to Wesley Seminary in D.C. next to American University, and caught the political bug a little bit. The minister class is a great group of people, but they don't know one thing. They don't know the supply and demand curve. And so I helped educate them a little bit, and I saw my future calling there to put ethics and religion together with economics. Excuse me. How many of you think we need to bring a little ethics to Washington, D.C.? went on from seminary to get my PhD in economics at American University and had some great years up there. Most importantly, met my lovely wife, Laura. Where's she hiding now? Give her a round of applause. As a candidate, this thing is harder than you might imagine. It's like fighting the Death Star in Star Wars with a jackknife, right? And I want one more round of applause for my wife, Laura. She has supported me the whole way. Good. So I got my PhD. I moved down here with Laura. We got 2 kids. I've been at Randolph-Macon teaching economics and ethics for 18 years. I chaired the department for the last 6 years. I worked on the notorious governors and lie number 1. I don't have that lie up here. I could only hold so many. Let me, for the new folks here, that's a serious thing, and you need to communicate with people, so I'll give you the facts. I serve on the Revenue Estimate Committee. It meets once a year. Every prominent Republican serves on that, the head of the Senate, the head of the House, all the business titans. Eric Cantor, it's just a bald-faced lie. And tell your neighbors Eric Cantor's lying, and if you want the majority leader of the United States Congress to be a liar, just keep it the way it is. But that I just want to give you the truth on that one, and that's a bunch of bull. I'm also on the Governor's Board of Accountancy. I'm on the RMA board down here, and I've worked for the General Assembly about the last 7 or 8 years on education policy in the state Senate, primarily focused on kids with disabilities, and in the higher ed STEM areas, science, technology, engineering, and math. And so that's enough on me. I'm here for you. I'm asking to be your representative. And so why am I running? I'm running because Washington, D.C. is absolutely broken from head to toe. A couple words on that. I don't want to keep you here till breakfast in the morning, but I do want to lay out the case because I think it's important. And so what do I mean when I say Washington, D.C. is broken? The financial system is broken. Fannie and Freddie made 2/3 of all subprime mortgages. Bankers should do that. No one up in D.C. seems to know what free market economics is, including Eric Cantor, and they got to go. They've almost ruined our country, right? That financial crisis brought this country to its knees. Started in the housing sector. That was the only asset we hadn't screwed up. We screwed it up. Then that's built over onto Wall Street, the financial sector, and then it spread into every one of your businesses. How many here run a small business? The whole room, right? That financial crisis ruined this country, took the stock market to half its value, and hurt all of us. And we could have done better if we had people with principle up there who aren't given special breaks and TARP bailouts and special tax credits to billionaires, instead of taking care of us, right, the normal folks back in the district in Virginia. So the financial sector's broke, the economy's broken, we're now growing at -1%, right? We're shrinking again, we're becoming European, the arteries are corroded, we're becoming sclerotic, it's not good. The healthcare system, Obamacare, is absolutely a disaster. We need to repeal and get rid of it immediately. Very interesting on this, right? Somehow Obamacare is the law of the land. Eric Cantor's majority leader in the Congress. I said he fully funded Obamacare, and the paper says I'm lying. Go figure, right? So somehow it was voted in, and it's fully funded by Congress. The last time I checked, doesn't Congress have the power of the purse? So keep your eye on that paper and write more letters in by the day over the next week to keep them honest. When the people holler, they pay attention. And we got a room full of hollering people here. And so write a few letters and let's set it all straight. Thank you upstairs. That was very good. Most concerning of all is probably the rule of law is broken. Right? Hinged on that premise that we're a nation of laws, not a nation of men. I'm running on the 10th Amendment. My goal is, along with James Madison, who also went to Princeton Seminary and learned about human nature the right way from the Bible, he knew how to design a constitution and separate powers. right? And so I'm running on constitutional principles. Specifically, the 10th Amendment has been overrun. There are certain enumerated powers in the Constitution allowed for the federal government. We need to bring everything else back down to the states and... Just a flavor of now, just a brief contrast between the two visions between Eric Cantor and myself. I'm not going to go into it all. I'm happy to take questions at the end a little bit if you want to go further. But there's a very clear contrast here, and Laura spelled it out perfectly, right? Just brilliantly laid out what is at stake. There is just one party up in D.C. right now, right? It's not Republicans and Democrats. It's one party. It's the power party, and it's the money party, and that's what's going on. So I can describe Eric Cantor's vision very easily, and it's described perfectly by the Chamber of Commerce, right? The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is the big business guys and then the Business Roundtable. Every single decision Eric Cantor makes is exactly what the Chamber wants him to do. And how do you know that? Look at Obamacare. Who gets exempted from Obamacare? Big business, right? Do you get exempted from Obamacare? No. And who else gets exempted? Labor unions and congressional staff. You can't make the stuff up, right? The second principle in the Republican Creed is equal justice and equal treatment under the law. How's that going for you? It's a disaster, right? There's not two classes of people in this country. There's one class, and we're all called Americans, and I'm proud to be an American with you. Let me go a little bit more into Eric's agenda and the Chamber agenda. The Chamber wants one thing, and this is not my opinion. The chairman of AT&T wrote up these comments last January. I looked at my wife over coffee one morning. I said, I can't believe it. They just wrote my stump speech for me. And they actually put it out in public, right? The Chamber of Commerce wants four things. Their growth agenda is made up of four things. I'll just cover two of them with you. One, they want stability in Washington, D.C. Yeah, I know, right? They want stability. And what does that mean? They want stability so they can make profits, right? Well, I'm pro-business, I'm pro-profits, that's good for them, but what does that really mean? When they say they want stability, that means they want to kick the can down the road on every single issue that's important to us, right? And so what does that mean? The debt and deficits are $17 trillion and counting. The unfunded liabilities are $127 trillion. Go to the bottom of the debt clock, add it all up, Medicare, Social Security, Bush prescription drug plan, and Medicaid. $127 trillion that we're passing on to who? This young lady right here and the youngsters I teach every day. That's a disaster. Economics is kind of tough, and this crowd has a harder job than the liberals, right? The liberals just promise everything to everybody on a daily basis. That's not fiscal responsibility. We know better, and to provide for the next generation, we better get it right soon. And so Eric's principles, he follows the Chamber on kicking the can down the road on that, and he also follows that logic on all the other issues as well, in a negative sense. Is the Chamber, think about this, is big business interested in the fact that many of you, Tea Party members, grassroots folks, have been targeted by the IRS? No. Is Eric Cantor at all interested in the fact that the United States government is coming after some of you? No. Are you concerned that the United States government is coming after you? Yes. You ought to be concerned, right? Eric Cantor has had an amazing metamorphosis in the last 2 weeks. Now he's on these flyers, or I got these flyers, I should hold them up for 5 seconds. Now he's saying he's in the lead, keeping the Tea Party safe. It's in print, it must be true. And he's looking out for you, and he's protecting you from the IRS. Some of you raise your hand. Yeah, he's not looking out for you. He is looking out for his cronies up there, and that's it. And the evidence, there's more evidence, and many people in this room know what it is. It's called slating. How many of you know what slating is? Yeah. Eric Cantor and his two PACs, one's called ERIC by just crazy logic. ERIC stands for Every Republican is Crucial, except for the ones he slates off. He's gone around the district, and this is serious business, right? I mean, you can differ on policy issues, but when you do not let Americans take part in their own political process, that's bad news. That's what Laura's getting at, right? This is not some little policy discussion. This is someone is doing some very bad stuff, and we got to get rid of them soon. He's slated people that believe in American principles, right? In the Constitution, the diehards who believe in American principles, that's the people he wants to kick out of the political process. And then he puts out a flyer saying he's in favor of the Tea Party and the grassroots and the constitutional people. And so start spreading the news to all your neighbors soon. The Chamber of Commerce also wants one other major thing, and that's amnesty. Right? And Laura covered that brilliantly, and I'm going to give some formal remarks on that in a minute because the press is here and I want to lay that out very clearly. But amnesty in a nutshell is very simple. Big business gets cheap labor, and what do you get? Low wages, right? You get no jobs, you get low wages. The median wage rate's been falling. Your family can't pay the bills. Small business people every day come up to me at this talk in 9 counties in the city, and the small business people are getting crushed.